It is one of the most iconic television series of all time, developed by a Hall of Fame creator at the height of his abilities. It put a new face on extrajudicial crime fighting, proving that one man can make a difference, and established an easy-to-follow template for every near-future super machine television series that would follow. Hi, I'm Dan Larson, and this is the history of Knight Rider. Knight Rider is a 90-episode live-action television series that spanned 4 seasons from 1982 to 1986. It tells the story of a well-financed prototype crime-fighting duo whose first mission was to save the very network that had created them. In the very near future of 1982, a company called Knight Industries has established a justice-focused charitable organization called the Foundation for Law and Government. Through this philanthropic endeavor, they have developed a one-of-a-kind crime-fighting force that exists to take on cases that might require more direct action than law enforcement might be capable of, or that law enforcement is simply unwilling to pursue. Knight Industries owner Wilton Knight, a billionaire in the age of millionaires, funds a multitude of medical and scientific research programs, but none is more television-friendly than Knight Rider, a first-of-its-kind crime-fighting duo with a small secret support team. Before his own death, Wilton Knight selects the person who would become the human half of his crime-fighting duo. Michael Long, a Vietnam veteran and decorated police detective, was in the wrong place at the right time, surviving a point-blank attempted execution, saved not only by a metal plate implanted in his head after a combat injury, but by timing, money, and the questionable morality of an eccentric but well-meaning billionaire. The metal plate prevented the bullet from entering Michael Long's brain and killing him, but the redirection of said bullet did require his face to be reconstructed, or let's say rebranded, because as far as the world is concerned, Michael Long died that day. He is reborn as Michael Knight, a man who does not exist. A man with, some would say, an uncanny resemblance to Wilton Knight when he was a younger man. You were on the right track, Wilton, but you just had to go and make it weird. The other half of the Foundation's secret crime-fighting team is the Knight Industries 2000, or KITT. It is a self-aware artificial intelligence with 1,000 megabits of memory wrapped in the most technologically advanced car on the planet. KITT is nearly indestructible and has a constantly upgraded array of gadgets, gizmos, and gimmicks that would make James Bond plots. KITT is bulletproof, can travel at speeds over 200 miles per hour, or jump over stuff using turbo boost. Voice synthesizer, voice projection, anamorphic equalizer that can see across the full spectrum of visible and invisible light, X-ray, super hearing, super smell, touch sensor, silent running, grappling hook, flamethrower, tear gas, flares, radar jammer, ejector seats, money dispenser, homing device, comlink, GPS, a laser, bucket seats, and a whole bunch of other stuff, not to mention television and a mobile phone. KITT seats too comfortably. Michael Knight and KITT are backed by the innovations of Knight Industries and the funding and guidance of the Foundation, which is headed by Devin Miles. Devin is joined by Dr. Bonnie Barstow, who is the chief engineer responsible for dealing with KITT's technical maintenance and Michael's high-maintenance maintenance. Michael, KITT, Devin, and Bonnie travel the country in a mobile command center. It's a black and gold semi-trailer truck emblazoned with the Knight Industries insignia. It has everything Michael and KITT need to recover, recharge, and prepare for their next mission, wherever the fight for justice takes them. Knight Rider was created and produced by Glen A. Larson, a man on a televised winning streak entering its 3rd decade. Larson had already worked on, written, produced, or created shows like The Fugitive, McCloud, Alias Smith and Jones, The $6 Million Man, Quincy, Battlestar Galactica, Buck Rogers, BJ and the Bear, Magnum PI, and The Fall Guy. Glenn was approached by then-president of Paramount Studios, Richard Lindheim. Lindheim and Larson had worked together previously on shows like BJ and the Bear and The Misadventures of Sheriff Lobo. Lindheim was looking to develop a show about a car. Larson was thinking more Lone Ranger. Larson was technically out of his deal with Universal Studios, headed for Fox, but technically still owed them one more project. Larson was initially flattered that Universal wanted him to take on this project, that Universal thought of him as the guy who could breathe life into something as benign as a car show. The reality is that it had already been turned down by 8 other producers, and Larson was the last guy on the list, but that's not important. What's important is that Larson had a bunch of great ideas that he had collected from other concepts that he was ready to be inspired by for this show. KITT, the high-tech crime-fighting supercar, can trace its inspiration back to an episode of BJ and the Bear titled Kane's Cruiser. In this episode, a police chief with an affinity for the most aggressive means to maintain law and order procures a black high-tech state-of-the-art super police car. Lindheim thought that would be a great place to start. Larson thought of KITT as the level-headed Tonto to Michael Knight's impulsive Lone Ranger. But the vision was clear. Michael and KITT riding the dusty plains or roads, roaming the countryside in the name of justice, on a crusade to champion the cause of the innocent, the helpless, the powerless in a world of criminals who operate above the law, if you will. All that was left were the details. How to take that concept and make it new and sexy for Friday night TV in the 1980s. Horses aren't Friday night sexy, but horsepower is. And what is horsepower but another word for star power? Lesson 1, write this down. A car is just a sexy horse with a lot of charisma. I'm giving you this stuff for free. Now take that sexy horse, mash it together with some of the cool stuff that Larson noticed was successful in other movies and TV shows. HAL 9000 was cool in Stanley Kubrick's 2001: A Space Odyssey. That's a good place to start from for the self-aware artificial intelligence. Larson gave it some life, a heartbeat, by repurposing the oscillating scanner eye from his own Battlestar Galactica's Cylons. KITT evolved over the production of the pilot episode, originally named TATT, or the Trans Am 2000, since it was a modified 1982 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am, and initially they weren't necessarily trying to hide that association. TATT changes to the Knight 2100, then the Knight 2000, because after all the alterations to the vehicle, Pontiac didn't want them to call it a Trans Am. The car and the personality in Larson's original concept weren't the same thing. Originally, the car, like Michael himself, was rebuilt from a pre-existing thing, Michael's actual car. The personality of the car was not necessarily restricted to or part of the car. Michael Sheff, a toy designer working for Mattel, was brought in to futurize the 1982 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am. Larson gave him the general concept, and Sheff did the rest, from the curves of the LED-laden dashboard to the minimal amount of visible seam work on the exterior. Larson's only request was that it incorporate the scanner bar in the design. Over the course of the series, KITT would see additional modifications, both cosmetic and narrative. A new dashboard, cleaner lines. Season 3 would see a complete makeover with the addition of a transformation while in Super Pursuit mode designed by George Barris, the guy who designed the 1960s Batmobile and the Munsters coach. KITT was voiced by William Daniels, who was starring on NBC's St. Elsewhere at the same time. To further the illusion of the character that was KITT, Daniels requested that he not be credited.
May I suggest you put the car in the auto cruise mode for safety's sake?
No, you may not.
KITT's partner in crime fighting is Michael Knight, played by David Hasselhoff. David was picked over Don Johnson, who would go on to star in Miami Vice, but NBC didn't even like the Hoff, to be honest. But Larson had seen everything he needed to see in Hasselhoff's appearance in 1978's Star Crash. Devin Miles, the head of the foundation, was played by Edward Mulhare. Patricia McPherson was KITT's technician, Dr. Bonnie Barstow, for seasons 1, 3, and 4. Rebecca Holden played KITT's technician, April Curtis, during season 2. Richard Basehart played Wilton Knight and provided the voiceover narration during the intro and outro.
Richard Basehart. Don't patronize me, Joel.
Season 1 introduced Michael and KITT's most important recurring nemesis, the Knight Automated Roving Robot, or KARR. KARR was the prototype vehicle that would eventually lead to the development of KITT. KARR had been put into sleep mode after Wilton Knight found KARR's programming to be dangerously unstable. Wilton built KARR to prioritize KARR's own survival over the people KARR was supposed to be protecting, an error he would fix when programming KITT. I bring this up because it's an important character in the series, yes, but more importantly to maintain our streak of mentioning Peter Optimus Prime Cullen, who had been the primary voice actor for KARR over the years. I don't need any more "hey you forgot" or "hey you left out" comments from Pete when we're talking about 80s properties, which he was in like all of them.
Oh, that's just the ringmaster, KARR.
Ringmaster? I scan no such person.
Every great hero needs a great theme song. Michael and KITT got their unforgettable anthem from Stu Phillips and Glen Larson himself. Like other composers, Glen says he was inspired by sections of a piece of music he had previously heard. The piece of music was Marche et Cortège de Bacchus from the ballet Sylvia, written by French composer Léo Delibes. One particular part stands out as a template for the hook in the Knight Rider theme. They played it on synthesizers, gave it a beat, threw a Fender bass under it, and let it run on loop in your head for the rest of your life. NBC needed a hero. They were getting killed by ABC and CBS year after year in general, and on Friday night in specific. Third place out of 3 networks was not the plan. Knight Rider was called to duty September 26, 1982, and would go on to fill the 9 p.m. Friday night slot against the undisputed heavyweight champion, CBS's Dallas. Knight Rider was an underdog in a spot with zero expectations of performance beyond failure, like everything else they scheduled there. And initially, that's exactly what it did. It was as low as 54th in the Nielsen ratings, but then something happened. Knight Rider was putting up bigger numbers than any show NBC had rolled out in over 4 years. That wasn't nothing. In fact, it was enough to bring them out of 3rd place and help transform Friday nights to a point of strength for NBC. Knight Rider was a powerful license for NBC and Universal as well. KARR produced an impressive deluxe battery-powered Knight 2000 voice car. It was packed with a 5.5-inch, 5-point of articulation Michael Knight modeled after his appearance in the pilot episode. KITT measured 14 inches in length and featured opening doors and actual audio of William Daniels as KITT, activated by pressing the license plate. Unfortunately, that scale wasn't directly compatible with anything else on the market, so there was little integration with other popular toy lines of the era.
Knight Rider power cycle with KITT on the pretend instrument panel.
Here he comes.
You can pretend KITT is talking, leading you to the enemy.
Say they're behind the fence. Let's get him, KITT. He's gonna pass us. Yeah. The spin-out lever.
Knight Rider.
The rider's cool. One more, KITT. Go to turbo.
Knight Rider.
You got me. You're no match for Knight Rider, right, KITT?
The Knight Rider power cycle comes complete with spin-out lever. Your parents have to put it together. New from Coleco.
KARR also produced a remote control version of KITT as well as a Hot Wheels-sized 1/64th scale die-cast version that came with a turbo boost launcher. A deluxe Knight 2000 crash set included the 1/64th car, the turbo boost launcher, a ramp, and a Comptron truck that you could launch KITT through to recreate a dazzling Friday night stunt spectacle. Kidco incorporated KITT into their line of key cars. Scalextric released an electric racetrack pitting KITT against some other race car. Universal Studios even had their own exclusive Darta Demons pullback racer capable of 520 scale miles per hour. Ertl produced a suite of cars, die-cast 1/64th and 1/25th scale pieces, wrist racers, and a rev-it-up, let-it-go Powertron version of KITT that transformed into a robot, probably voiced by Peter Cullen. MPC model kits, stickers, Viewmaster reels, color forms, sheets. Who didn't want to take their lunch to school in the official Knight Rider lunchbox from Aladdin? And I would be remiss if I didn't give a nod to the various versions of machine gun-toting Michael Knight and rainbow decoed KITT released by Glassleet under the Super Machina line and the larger series of Heroes.tv. Michael appears alongside other TV legends like the A-Team, Jesse Matt from Street Hawk, TJ Hooker, and Stringfellow Hawk from Airwolf. There were novelizations of Knight Rider episodes that fleshed out some of the characters and motivations. There were comics included with the Knight Rider annuals, and a board game released by Parker Brothers. Despite its place of reverence in pop culture history now, viewers at the time had other choices and short attention spans. If Knight Rider was going to stay alive from season to season, it had to keep the audience engaged for the long haul. And when your starting point is a self-aware Trans Am, you don't get to just add a baby to the cast. Season 2 introduced a new nemesis for both Michael Knight and KITT. Garth Knight was the actual son of Knight Industries founder Wilton Knight. He's the guy whose face Michael Knight was actually walking around with. Goliath was an armored semi that was almost as indestructible as KITT. Garth carried on the classic TV trope of creating an evil or mirror version of the hero by simply adding facial hair and by the actor pulling double duty. Whether it was Spock in Star Trek the original series or years later with Bender and Flexo in Futurama, it is a tried and true mechanism that the audience falls for every single time. Season 3 brought an upgraded and refreshed KITT design as well as the return of actress Patricia McPherson as Dr. Bonnie Barstow. She had been replaced by Rebecca Holden as April Curtis for Season 2, a decision that was not popular with the fans or the cast. Season 4 saw the most substantial cosmetic and functional makeover for KITT. After suffering comprehensive damage in the Season 4 premiere, KITT was rebuilt with transformative capabilities. Boosters, turbofans, spoilers, an extendable nose, everything KITT needed to go faster than ever before. But that wasn't enough to keep Knight Rider on the road. Universal looked into the possibility of a 5th season, but the accountants thought that it would begin to cut into the profitability of the show overall, and it wasn't like anyone was ever going to pick it up for syndication anyway. That wasn't the end of the road for Knight Rider, not by a long shot. The first attempt to grow the Knight Rider television universe was the episode Speed Demons in 1984 during Season 2. Larson was angling for a show that borrowed the wheelchair-using lawyer concept from Ironside. and paired it with a vehicular-based justice of Knight Rider. The Duvall racing brothers from that episode would have been approached by Devon Miles on behalf of the Foundation to equip them with motorcycles with functionality like KITT. Of course, the ABC network would beat them to the punch with Street Hawk just a year later. A series called All That Glitters was intended to be developed out of the David Dalton character that appeared in the Knight Rider two-parter, Mouth of the Snake, just 3 episodes after Speed Demons. While that concept was passed on by NBC, the character and concept would return in a 4-episode series and some made-for-TV movies called Code of Vengeance. Knight Rider continued to hold its international popularity through syndication, being broadcast in 82 countries over the years. As a network affiliate, you could purchase the full hour-long episodes or super condensed half-hour versions, literally cutting to just the car chase. Knight Rider would come back in 1994 on the USA Network, in 2003 on the Sci-Fi Channel, 2012 on G4, and a multitude of others. In 2006, the entire series was released by Universal Studios in a special edition box set. Collections have since been released in different capacities, including DVD versions by NBC Universal Entertainment Japan in 2014 and Mill Creek Entertainment in 2016. Mill Creek also released the complete series on Blu-ray in 2016. You can currently stream Knight Rider to your heart's content via NBC.com, not to be confused with Peacock, the NBC streaming service, or buy them on platforms like YouTube. Knight Rider 2000 was a made-for-TV movie that aired in 1991. It was the first time the Knight Rider story picked up since the end of the original series in 1986. Michael Knight, Devon Miles, and KITT are back, pulled from retirement, fighting crime in a future time. While the movie was intended to kick off a new series, Hasselhoff was committed to Baywatch at the time, and test audiences didn't love the new tone and leads. And not for nothing, but the red modified Dodge Stealth Knight 4000 version of KITT didn't work for some people the way the aesthetics of the original car did. Don't get lost in the numbers here like I did. Knight Rider 2010 hit in 1994. This TV movie pushes the concept into a pseudo-post-apocalyptic cyberpunk kind of world. It has far more in common with the first Mad Max movie than the Knight Rider series. Beyond a car with an AI and vigilante justice, there is almost no similarity. Team Knight Rider arrived in 1997, abandoning the one-man-can-make-a-difference concept of the original series, or rather, misunderstanding the idea of that message. Team Knight Rider says, if one man can make a difference, then 5 people can make 5 times the difference. Team Knight Rider made a full season order of 22 episodes. It featured 5 different agents with different kinds of vehicles that unfortunately did not combine into a giant robot, something to keep in mind going forward. 2008 saw the next attempt to reboot the franchise with a TV movie just called Knight Rider. It is a direct sequel to the original series, pretending that Knight Rider 2000, Knight Rider 2010, and Team Knight Rider never happened. It also dresses KITT in a new Ford Mustang body. A new Michael paired up with a new KITT, the Knight Industries 3000, this time voiced by Batman himself. No, not that one. No, not the other one, Val Kilmer.
Michael, the shortest route takes us directly onto...
just do it.
The movie resulted in a series order that was ultimately trimmed down to just 17 episodes, but it did also see the return of Peter Cullen as KARR and KITT back in black, with a new attack mode that allowed him to cycle through different kinds of Ford vehicles. Knight Rider's legacy can be found everywhere. As early as 1984, Michael Knight and KITT were crossing over to different strokes to save Arnold Jackson. In more recent years, General Electric ran a marketing campaign for Brilliant Machines, which featured KITT and was narrated by William Daniels. Michael and KITT returned for an AT&T DirecTV ad, and in 2018, KITT turned up promoting Walmart, along with a myriad of other famous Hollywood vehicles. Even if we tried, we couldn't possibly include or even mention all of the ways that Knight Rider have been referenced, homaged, or parodied over the years. Knight Rider was a little early for the video game era, but that didn't stop Universal from licensing out the property as technology evolved. In 1986, Ocean Software released Knight Rider in Europe for a variety of platforms. KITT hit the Nintendo Entertainment System in 1988 with a racing game called Knight Rider. In 1994, brought Knight Rider Special exclusively to PCs in Japan. In 2002, Davalex Games released Knight Rider the Game for PC in North America and both PC and PlayStation 2 in Europe. That was followed by Knight Rider the Game 2 in 2004, available on PC and PS2. KITT is available in Planet Coaster, and if you're an avid Rocket League player like me, you could get the Knight Rider Car Pack back in 2019, but you missed it because you didn't really start playing until 2020. Advancements in toy technology and an adult collector market that grew up with the series kept KITT coming back to shelves periodically for the last 20 years. In 2004, Ertl came back with 1/18 scale versions of KITT and KARR complete with light-up scanner bars. In 2006, the UK-based Hitari company released a 1/15 scale remote control KITT, also with light-up scanner bar, but additional voice and whooshing sound. In 2012, Diamond Select Toys produced a 1/15 scale KITT with a light-up dashboard, light-up scanner bar, headlights, taillights, and original push-button activated audio clips of William Daniels as KITT. There was an Entertainment Earth exclusive version that also included a Michael Knight action figure. That was followed up with light-up talking KARR as well. Knight Rider, like KITT, is nearly indestructible. As long as people have fond memories of the series and the characters, as long as there is perceived value in the rights, attempts will be made to bring it back in some form or another. In 2015, Lion Forge Comics brought Knight Rider back alongside a bunch of other 80s TV properties like Miami Vice, Airwolf, and Punky Brewster. But comics has never been Knight Rider's ideal entertainment vehicle. That car wants to move. That scanner wants to oscillate. In 2002, Revolution Studios entered a collaboration with Mayhem Pictures to develop a film based on the TV series. They would be inspired by Revolution's XXX franchise. They brought back Glen Larson himself to write the first draft of the script, and David Hasselhoff as an advisor and ultimately in a supporting role. The movie would act as a handoff to the next generation with a full blessing from the original Michael Knight, who would be a mentor to his son in the film, none other than Ben Affleck. In 2006, the movie rights were purchased from Larson by the Weinstein Company. Once again, Hasselhoff would be handing off to the next generation as the original Michael Knight, mentor to his son, none other than Orlando Bloom. In 2007, the film had moved to Miramax. 6 years later, Brad Copeland was reportedly writing a new script. A year after that, in 2014, Schmoes Know reported that Chris Pratt and Danny McBride were being considered for a 21 Jump Street 2012 reboot-style reboot. Another in a series of reboots that play a decades-old TV concept for laughs over drama, not unlike Chips or Starsky and Hutch or the Dukes of Hazzard. In 2015, news surfaced of a new web series called Knight Rider Heroes that would feature the Hoff himself, but that never happened. And just last year, in 2020, Deadline reported that Spyglass Media Group was teaming up with Atomic Monsters' James Wan and Michael Clear to finally develop a film that would be executive produced by Judson Scott. Where the road winds from there is anybody's guess. It would take more than 1,000 gigabits of memory and the most advanced artificial intelligence on Earth to predict whether or not Knight Rider makes it back to the big, small, or mobile screen. In January of 2021, Michael Knight himself, David Hasselhoff, auctioned off his own replica Knight Industries 2000. Now, don't take that personally. It wasn't a screen-used car, and it in no way reflects his feelings about KITT, the future of the franchise, or his time spent working on it. Rather, it was an opportunity to take some of the benefits of his life spent playing a character whose sole mission was justice for the innocent, the helpless, the powerless in a world of criminals who operate above the law. A chance to live out the ideology Knight Rider was born from, that one man can make a difference. The Hoff-owned replica KITT sold for $300,000. A portion of that sale and many other items goes to his charitable organizations, including Global Mobility, which provides free wheelchairs and mobility assistance to individuals in need. Knight Rider delivered the world a modern take on a timeless mythology. It gave the world a blueprint for a healthy, functional relationship between humans and the programs that continue to evolve into inevitable self-awareness. And it reinforced the power of an individual to find a way to fight for what's right, no matter how shadowy the flight, no matter how dangerous the world. Whew. Thanks for watching. Please hit like, hit subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Thank you very much to those of you who already are. If you haven't heard, we started a second channel called Toy Galaxy 2, that's TOO. Head over there and subscribe for stuff we don't post here. If you're in the position to help the channel grow, please visit our Patreon or become a YouTube channel member. Joe Huth IV and Richie F. Levine wrote a book called Knight Rider Legacy, which helped fill in a few of the gaps in our research, an invaluable resource if you want to get even deeper into the details, including diagrams of KITT and all the things we couldn't include here. Please share this video and let us know in the comments down below if you were part of a crime-fighting duo. Would you be the Michael Knight or the KITT? Michael Knight means you get a perm, you get to wear your shirt unbuttoned, you get to do, human stuff. But if you're KITT, you get lasers and x-ray vision, super speed, bulletproof skin, and an ejector seat that you can dispense of your human partner whenever you've had enough. Nobody has a replica Michael Knight in their garage, but everyone wants a replica KITT. That should tell you all you need to know about who's the fan favorite.
Cut.